Now let's continue our examination of the workspace in Photoshop by looking at the right side of the workspace, and this is where pretty much all the heavy lifting is done. Don't ignore the tools over here on the left, but you also want to learn what all this is over here. Now, for the moment, when you open the program, you're going to see this section up here called Libraries, and yes, Libraries is a valuable thing, but not at this point. You're not ready for it, so I'm going to go ahead and right-click and close the tab group and just get rid of the whole thing for now. We may get back to it later, but for now, since you are brand new to Photoshop, it's just going to confuse you, so we're going to just get rid of it, all right? Now, at the top is the color, and then you'll have properties, and then you'll have adjustments. Then you'll have layers, channels, and paths, okay? You don't need the path section, so I'm going to right-click on it, close the tab. Channels, you don't need this right now, so I'm going to close that. Layers you are going to need, so we're going to keep that right there. There are some panels that don't appear here that you do want to place into this section. Where are those? Up here at Window, and every one of these is a panel, okay? So we're going to go to the top, and you're going to want Actions, okay? And I'll show you Actions much later, but History and Actions pretty much go together. So what we're going to do is left-click, hold it down, and we're going to drag it over here. And you see how that little blue line appears? Well, that's where it's going to go when you let go of the mouse. Then you have the History and the Actions panels all in one place, which is what you want. Actually, to be dead honest, I like having History and Layers right next to each other. So I put all three of these in the same area. So these tabs, you click on it and then right-click, and you can either close the tab or close the entire group, or you can minimize them, etc., etc. But I left-click, drag it around, and you can place it anywhere you want. When you see that blue border, that's where the tab group is going to go. Okay, now we're going to leave it there. Now let's put this one back down here, just like that. Okay, and I'm a little bit particular. I've been doing this a long time, and I just want things to look the way I want them to look. Now the other one you're going to do, click on the window, and we're going to put on the histogram. Okay, so there's the histogram. And again, left click, hold it down, and I'm going to drag the histogram to the very, very top. This is where I want the histogram to be. And also the navigator. I don't use the navigator that much, but sometimes it does come in handy. So we're going to put the histogram right there. Don't worry about what it is yet. You may already know, but we'll configure it later. Just get everything arranged. Click on Window again. And we take a look, and I don't see anything here we can't live without at this point. Now, a lot of these you're going to use later, but for now, since you're learning, since this is the first time you've been into the program, let's don't confuse issues. Let's keep it very simple, okay, which is what we're going to do. However, having said that, the most important one of these panels at this point in your progress that you're going to want to learn is the history states, and I'll go through that in just a minute. The other thing later on that's going to save you a lot of work is Actions. And what those really are automated steps that you can use to process images. Let's say you've got 10 images and you want to do the same thing to every image. You'll record an action and then just play it back. And I'll show you how to use that later. Layers is meat and potatoes part of using Photoshop. So we're going to want to do the Layers tab a lot. Now these are adjustment layers. And again, you'll use those later, but you don't need them now. So let's just minimize it, get it out of the way to give ourselves some more real estate. And we're going to minimize this entire group because we don't need it right now. And we've given a lot of real estate to Layers, Actions, and History. So history you're going to use, I'm going to show you that now. Layers you're going to use a lot, and we'll show you that in very, very soon. Now, what does all this mean? I know it's all Greek to you at this point, but just trust me that you'll want to use these three more than anything else. Now, what is history? Now we're at a point where we want to open an image. Don't worry how I do it. I'm just going to open an image, and we'll go through opening an image in just a minute. Browse and Bridge. Again, you're going to use Bridge as a hand-in-glove program in association with Photoshop all the time. So while Bridge is loading, There it goes. Let's say we're going to open, which one do we want? Let's open a photo of my workshop students, and I'll double click on it, and here it is. Now, once the image opens, notice what happens on the histogram. Now, when you see the histogram look like this, you may want the 3 RGB colors divided like this, but I don't. So you'll come up here to this little area right here, you'll click on it, and you want the expanded view. And once you have the expanded view, you'll click on colors, and what you're going to want is luminosity. See how much easier that is? So just leave it there. All right, so histogram, you come click on this, expanded view, go here, click on luminosity, and there you've got your histogram. And history, the best way to explain the history, now this is one of the most important sections for you to learn at this stage of your progress. Because one of the most frustrating things that you'll encounter about Photoshop is that when you go down a road and make an adjustment, you're going to say, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Or in some way you make a mistake and you want to go back. I remember when I was first learning Photoshop, I get so upset. I spent an hour trying to undo my mistake, and little did I know that all I had to do is go to the history states, all right? I'm going to go through and make some adjustments on this image. Don't worry what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I'm only doing it to demonstrate this history panel. All right, so I'm going to darken this one. And then I'm going to come in with the crop tool, and let's do it. Let's make a mistake on the crop tool, and let's put that crop tool right there, and I'll crop it this way. And then I'll come up to the image, adjustments, and go to color balance, and let's say I make a really bad mistake and I put too much green in there, and hit OK, and now the image looks horrible. And you're looking at yourself and go, how do I back out of that? What did I do? Sometimes you don't even know what you did. You just look up and it's not right. How do I undo it? How do I back up and start again? This is where the history states are, okay? Now notice, with each adjustment that I made on the image, it recorded the step. So I can go back, all right? I can correct that green. Now it looks better. I can correct that crop, okay? And the way to do that is come up here and get rid of the crop tool. Then I can go back and I can open the image to the very beginning and take out the curves adjustment. So if you ever get to a point where you do something on an image and you don't even know how you did it, come to the history panel, click on it, and then find the step that you want to back up to and start again. That's all you need to do. Now, the other way to do it, for those of you who like keyboard shortcuts, let's go ahead and put this here. Command-Z or Control-Z on the PC. Command-Z. See how when I hit Command-Z, in fact, I'm going to move my cursor off the panel so you can see how it works. Command-Z is the keyboard shortcut for undo or going backward on your history. Command-Z again, Command-Z again, and everything is back to normal. So you can either go to the history panel or just start hitting Command or Control-Z to back up to where you want to start over. Now you've got your adjustment panels organized the way you want them. What you want to do is come up to Window, Workspace, New Workspace, and let's call this Learning, and you hit Save. And then you have your own personal workspace. So if you have someone else in your family that's using Photoshop and they like to do other things, they can arrange their function panels the way they want it. So they can come in and go Workspace, click on Fill, and this is how I like my workspace to look, okay? And then someone else can come in and say, I like the way it looks in Learning, and boom, there it is. But the most important thing to take away from this lesson is this history panel that you can back up and go forward to on an image when you get to where you made a mistake or you did something you didn't know how you did it and you want to back up and start over again. It's the history panel or Command-Z, either one. So there you have it. Now you know how to navigate. Now you know where the gas pedal is and the brake pedal and the turn signals and the gear shift knob and all those things that allow you to learn how to drive. We're now going to learn how to adjust your image in Photoshop. But now one more thing before we start actually adjusting images, I want to show you Bridge. You really can't function in Photoshop until you learn Bridge. It's the program that goes with Photoshop that allows you to organize everything really, really well. So now let's go to Bridge and learn how to use that. Really, really simple, and you'll be so glad you learned this.